A king protects the throne first, and his daughter second. The palace lights never truly go dark. Even in the quiet hours, when Madrid exhales and the city settles into shadow, the standard above the residence still hangs in perfect symmetry. A symbol of continuity, a reminder that the state does not sleep. Inside those walls walks a father. And a king. The distinction matters. He moves through corridors lined with portraits of predecessors who faced exile, restoration, abdication, crisis. Men who learned, sometimes too late, that the crown survives only when it stands above the personal. He understands this. He was trained to understand this. The words are stark, severe, but they are not cruel. They are constitutional. In a constitutional monarchy, the survival of the crown outweighs even the deepest bonds of blood, because continuity is the first obligation of a king. This is not sentiment, it is structure. Spain's monarchy does not rest on romance or personality. It rests on law, on ritual, on visible discipline. The sovereign is not free in the way ordinary fathers are free. Every gesture, every silence, every proximity carries institutional consequence. He knows that his daughter, the heir, does not belong solely to him. She belongs to continuity. From childhood, her public appearances were measured. The oath to the Constitution was not a ceremonial milestone, it was a legal transformation. In that moment, she ceased to be simply a daughter within a household and became the living embodiment of succession. Continuity is not abstract here, it is embodied in visible presence. And so the question is never merely personal. It is constitutional. What does a king protect first? At first glance, the answer feels obvious. Blood, family, a child's happiness. But monarchy reverses the order. The institution comes first because without it, the family loses the very structure that gives it meaning. That is the paradox most observers misunderstand. They see warmth in photographs. A father's smile, a shared glance at a military parade. They interpret intimacy. They do not see the calculation beneath it. Around the world, constitutional monarchies survive on credibility. In the United Kingdom, the lesson was learned across generations. Private choices can destabilize public confidence. In Canada and Australia, where the crown functions as a stabilizing constitutional symbol, the perception of discipline within the royal household reinforces national continuity. In the United States and Germany, republics by design, observers study monarchies as case studies in soft power, measuring stability, resilience, and institutional restraint. The Spanish crown cannot afford improvisation. It has known fragility before. Exile in the 20th century was not ancient history. Restoration required patience. Legitimacy had to be rebuilt brick by brick, oath by oath, ceremony by ceremony. This is the living thread of continuity. And at its center now stands a young woman who carries both affection and expectation in equal measure. The king's role is not to shield her from pressure. It is to prepare her to withstand it. There is a difference. Early in her formation, the emphasis was clear. Education aligned with statecraft, military training aligned with constitutional symbolism, public composure aligned with institutional gravity. These are not ornamental choices. They signal readiness, to parliament, to allies, to markets, to citizens. Because monarchy, in the modern era, is inseparable from economic confidence. Investors watch stability. Diplomatic partners watch predictability. Allies in Washington and London assess continuity not through emotion but through signals of order. Berlin reads the same signals through the lens of European cohesion. Ottawa and Canberra observe through Commonwealth memory, measuring how institutions adapt without fracturing. A king understands that even personal turbulence can ripple outward. What appears to be a private matter becomes geopolitical commentary. That is the burden he carries. At 2 minutes into any serious reflection, the realization settles: this is not about affection withheld. It is about affection disciplined. And here is the reframing that unsettles many. The king does not protect the throne instead of his daughter. He protects the throne in order to protect her. Without the crown's stability, her future dissolves into uncertainty. Without constitutional clarity, she inherits controversy instead of continuity. Without institutional respect, she inherits fragility. So protection begins at the highest level. History offers warnings. European